So you give the background information, any related significant information which could have a connection with this. It could be a recent event, it could be a recent development in the news, which you can also connect with this. You should use quotes. Quotes either from the scientists themselves or from people in power, like maybe from the Ministry of Health. Okay, you can use those quotes. You can use case studies or examples if it is a soft feature. Okay, that you can completely change the way you write a soft feature, that we will discuss later. But overall, ensure that you use your imagination to make it interesting. Even if it is just the lead. You know what the lead is, right? All of you know what is the lead? Can somebody say what is the lead? What is the lead in a news story?
The opening statement.
Yeah. The first paragraph or the opening statement which hooks the reader onto your story. That is the lead. Okay? So even if it is just the headline and the lead which is going to incite curiosity, that is enough. That will make the person who is reading it read the whole article or the whole story. Okay? So if the source is a journal article, like I said, add the details of the publication. So here I am just going to give you an example. I don't know if you can read this on the screen.
Yes.
You can? Okay. Can you identify the 5 W's and 1 H in this story? I'll just read it out slowly. Sentences, what all you can find out, which W and which H. Yes.
When this thing is what is Omicron can displace Delta, and when is 27 December 2021?
Okay, good. Anybody else? Can somebody say something else also from there?
It even consists Y,
Okay, what is the Y here?
that Omicron affects and visualizes. I didn't get the exact sentence. I'm not able to.
Actually, the Y comes later on, but yes, there's a little bit of hint of the Y here as well. Oh yeah, okay. And is there where here or who here? Yes. Okay. So then, the analysis enrolled 33 vaccinated and unvaccinated people who were infected with the Omicron variant in South Africa, while the authors found that the neutralization of Omicron increased 14-fold over 14 days after the enrollment. They also found that there was a 4.4-fold increase of Delta virus neutralization. What is this paragraph? How? Very good. Okay, so next you have a quote. The increase in Delta variant neutralization in individuals may result in decreased ability of Delta to reinfect those individuals. So actually this is the why. Okay, why is it important? Because those who have been infected with Omicron will have decreased ability to get infected by Delta. That is the whole point of this article, of this news story. Okay, so you also have and they have said it is less pathogenic as it will help push Delta out. That all that constitutes the why. Okay, now you have some related information also given, some context. According to an earlier South African study, there is a reduced risk of hospitalization and severe disease in people infected with the Omicron coronavirus. Okay, so here they have given some context and they have also given some related information which is actually not very significant, but maybe for the people who were reporting it, it was significant. They have written that it has threatened to overwhelm hospital and disrupt travel plans this holiday week. So that is the related information they have given here. But you see how the 5 W's and 1 H have made up this concise science report. For a hard news story, this has to be there. Okay? So actually I brought in some more stories for you to use as examples, but we will do it later if we have time. Right now I'll just go ahead. So here I'll just show you 2 news stories. Okay? This is about histone modifications or DNA methylation. I don't know how many of you are from biological sciences background. Any of you? No one? No one from biological sciences. Okay. Things are going to be very interesting here. So you have this headline here. Please read the headline. I'm not asking you to read anything much more than that. Okay, University of Vienna, hot of the press. A new role for histone modifications in genomic imprinting. How many of you understood what it means? Anyone? Okay, no. So we go on to the next one. There's more to genes than DNA. How mom and dad add something extra. Does this make more sense?
Yes.
Yeah? So actually both of these news stories are about the same thing. It's about the same discovery. But you see what kind of a difference it makes with just the change in the headline, and even the first part, the lead is also different. Actually here I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you see that makes a difference. How mom and dad add something extra. It's very light-hearted. You're not being made to think that, oh, this is very heavy stuff which I cannot understand. If you see the first one, you will think this. You know, okay, this is very complicated, this is very heavy, I can't understand it. This is what any person feels. Any person who reads a newspaper feels the same way. So which is why you should go for this kind of an approach more than this one. Clear? Okay, so just some rules of writing to keep in mind. Prefer simple sentences more than complex. Use more of active voice, use action verbs, okay? Use short sentences. And for feature stories, you use a mix of both. Long sentences, short sentences, you have to experiment. Okay? Then don't say anything vague. Try to keep it as factual and definitive as possible. Don't try to say something which keeps the reader confused. Then in a single paragraph or in a single sentence, use just a single idea or a single concept. Don't try to approach multiple things at the same time. Then understand the audience. Again, like I said, know what is relevant for them. Counter likely audience misconceptions. So sometimes there is a possibility that the audience may feel they already have some prejudiced notion. They already have some stereotypical notion in their mind about that particular scientific fact. Okay, like for let's say the solar eclipse. Okay, recently we had the solar eclipse, and I actually found some websites reporting that people should stay indoors and not eat and not have a bath during the solar eclipse. There were news websites which did that, and that was absolutely unscientific. It was actually their job to say that all this is superstition and there is no restriction on eating something and having your bath during the solar eclipse. So, and it was not even a full solar eclipse, it was just a partial solar eclipse here in Hyderabad, but still you had this happening. So your job as a science communicator is also to dispel any superstitions, any wrong notions that your audience might be having. Okay, and of course use your imagination to explain as much as you can. Now, I'm sure you all know the basic writing structure. You have the lead, you have the body, and you have the tail, the inverted pyramid structure for a hard news story. And you usually follow the same thing for a press release, except that you add the entire template part. You have the logo or the letterhead, and then you have the dates and the, you have the boilerplate down there and all that. So we will not go into those things right now. But for a soft news and a feature story, you have not an inverted pyramid, you have a pyramid structure. You start with a delayed lead. That means you slowly introduce the reader into the topic by making it interesting, bringing in some interesting, everyday thing which they can relate to, and then you slowly move to the nut graph. The nut graph is what? That is the second paragraph. That gives them the actual gist of what the article is about or what the story is about. Okay? Then you go into the body where you go into the actual things, like you discuss in detail, you give statistics, you talk about any contextual background and all that. Then finally your conclusion. Okay? So this is your soft news structure. Now I'll just show you this particular story again, not the whole thing. Read the first line, the headline, and the first few paragraphs. You will understand what this is going to. The mind-blowing story of a man who can't see numbers. That's the headline. First lead, the delayed lead. This is a story of a man who couldn't see numbers. Just the first line, okay? So this makes you interested. You think this is a story. You think you're going to read something new of which you have never heard of. That is your approach towards soft news stories, where you can get the reader interested, and you can make this first paragraph as long as you want. Okay? There's no restriction that you should have only one line or one paragraph. You can go into a couple of paragraphs also to get people involved into the mode of the story. That depends on you as a writer to make the call. Okay? So then yes, here we go on to after suffering from a rare degenerative brain disorder, a man was unable to see and identify the numerical digits and so on. So here this becomes your nut graph. Okay. So we will not go into the whole thing, you can read it later, I can share the material with you later. Okay, now we will just look at some interesting leads. Okay, so this is a story on how bacterial strains rather than species play a role in modeling the gut microbiome. That means the story is on how certain bacteria, not the species but strains, there are different strains, okay, they make a difference in your bacterial flora in your stomach. That is the point. You all know that we have natural bacteria in our stomach which help us digest our food. Yes. So this is about how certain bacterial strains may play a role more than others. Okay. So look at the lead here. Every day the millions of bacteria that inhabit your digestive system change. The food you eat, the medications you take, and the germs you are exposed to make some bacteria flourish more than others. Scientists know that this ever-shifting balance of gut microbes is linked to your health and disease, but have struggled to pin down what makes one microbial balance better than another. So only that first line makes you understand, okay, there is something which is going to affect you. Like, it's talking about how your digestive system is affected by change, and the change is caused by the food, by the medications, and the germs. Okay, and then slowly they come down to what the scientists are going to do here, what they are going to talk about. So scientists have always been wondering what makes this balance of bacteria in your gut change. So this is how they come down here. Here's another one. Okay, a single glass of milk or an egg a day may just not be enough for your young one. That is, if he or she has to be healthy in the full sense of the word. This is an intro to a study by NIN which reported that 50% of the middle income group urban children have multiple micronutrient deficiency. So actually it would have been a very boring story with statistics. Okay, they would have been talking about, okay, so many percentage of children have less zinc, so many percentage of children have less calcium, so many percentage of children have less manganese. So they did not do that. Instead of that, they said a single glass of milk or an egg a day may not be enough for your child. So only then can they need a lot more to be healthy. This is the intro which made people look into it. Okay, what is this about? What is happening to our children? Why are they not healthy with what we are giving them? So that is, it poses a dramatic question into your mind. What is wrong? Why? Why is it not enough? So this is one way of luring your readers in. You put a question in their heads. You make them think. You make them rethink what is wrong. Where is the change required? Okay. Now this is another one. It's great to have a base station or wireless repeater of your cellular provider close to where you work or live. Your mobile works that much better. It's nice that you can receive all the local FM radio transmissions in your town loud and clear. But are you and your family paying a hidden cost in health for these increasingly familiar facets of urban living? And is anybody trying to understand and mitigate these unseen risks? So here also, they are posing a question in your mind. You are happy with what you have right now, but is it really good for you? So now they come in the second paragraph to what it is actually about. Disturbing questions such as these were raised here last week by researchers at an international conference on electromagnetic interference and compatibility organized by the Society of EMC Engineers. So actually the news report is about the conference which was held. Okay. So generally what do you notice? You must have seen a lot of news reports which go on to say this society of so and so held a conference on at so and so date at this event, and it was attended by so and so. The chief minister inaugurated the event. So you come back to the actual findings of that conference at the end somewhere, and by then nobody reads the whole article. People are done with it. They don't, okay, this is about some conference, why should we read it? So if you actually talk about the findings of that conference, what people actually discuss there and why it is relevant, that makes a difference in your reporting. Then people will read about why that conference was important, who attended it, and what did they discuss there. Then they will think about it. Okay? So this is about So this is about that one bleed. Now here is one more. This is for younger audiences from the young world, moving continents. Indians travel, but India itself can't travel. Who ever heard of a traveling continent? Surely a great big landmass can't sail across the oceans? Oh yes, it can. Have you ever wondered why the world looks the way it does? How did the Himalayas get so much higher than the rest of India? Why aren't the mountains found everywhere? Why do earthquakes concentrate on some corners of the earth? So, this is how the young world tried to introduce children to the topic of continents, the formation of continents, okay, and the formation of natural structures on earth. This is an intro for younger audiences, okay. Now, this is another one. The smallest fish in the world, the Pediocyprus, measures only 7 millimeters. This is nothing compared to the 9 meters of the whale shark. The small fish shares many of the same genes and the same anatomy with the shark, but the dorsal and caudal fins, gills, stomach and heart are 1,000 times smaller. How do organs and tissues of this miniature fish stop growing very quickly, unlike those of their giant cousin? So the actual story here is about how the researchers are finding out how our organs know when to stop growing. That is the actual story. But they have brought out a parallel. This is another way of storytelling. When you bring out a parallel story, you try to compare that with the current issue at hand. So you are comparing how a small fish and a big fish grow. Why does a small fish grow only this much and why does a large fish grow that much? You are first asking this question and then you are trying to draw a parallel. So here, now the researchers are also trying to find out why our organs are growing only this much. That is how you bring about a parallel. Okay, so this is another way of storytelling. Okay, so I'll give you this exercise again later where you can build up your own lead. We will try to finish whatever we can before that, and then I will give you time